Hi there, welcome to another episode of Spontaneous Conversations. And we chose a topic very spontaneously, is this whole notion of being in the moment.
Yeah.
So this is Ravi Gundlapalli,
And
founder and CEO of MentorCloud, and Rajesh.
This is Rajesh Sethi. I am a serial entrepreneur and a friend of Ravi.
Excellent. And this, again, for those of you who are just listening to this new episode, Rajesh and I have always enjoyed our conversations, and we felt let's talk about it, because every time we are talking without any prior plan, something amazing happens when we both enjoy it. And we wanted to share some of those with you. And today it's about being in the moment.
Yeah, it's an apt episode, no, Ravi, because we talked about having spontaneous conversations. Now, there is no choice but for us to be in the moment because we didn't prepare for it. We picked a topic out of the blue, and let's start.
Yeah, so I think the reason we picked it up is because that's an attribute that I think both of us share. I have not seen you ever say, what happened 2 years ago, what happened yesterday. You're always in the moment. You're always with me. And you're paying full attention to me, which is what I like. And I'm sure you see some of that with me as well, is the more you are now, you can enjoy the presence of each other, you can enjoy the nature around you, versus being in a beautiful garden and thinking about yesterday's argument and missing out the beauty in front of you. How sad that is.
Yeah, totally true. So like you said before this talk, you are telling, you are remembering a quote, past is history, future is a mystery, this moment is a gift, that's why it's called the present.
It's a present, it's a gift. What's the guarantee, Rajesh, that this gift will remain?
Yeah.
How many cases have we heard where people have just disappeared just like that? So just the realization that the fact that you're breathing right now and able to enjoy the company of a colleague or a spouse or a child or your pet is actually an amazing gift.
Yeah, so true. So let's start with why it is difficult for people to be in the present. Everybody knows it. And the past is history, future is mystery, this moment is a gift, that it's called the present. They know it in some form or fashion.
Right. They probably went to school for it.
Yeah.
I think what causes us to not be in the moment is carrying some of the baggage from the past, and those baggage comes because of expectations. We expected somebody to behave in a certain way. Your uncle was supposed to say something to you and he didn't. Your friend was supposed to do this, they did not. So we kind of create a world of expectations, and when they don't meet, it bugs us. And it remains in that memory.
Yeah.
That movie is there. It's etched, and for some reason, I don't know why people enjoy replaying those movies.
Yeah, exactly. So when I was giving talks, I always tell people that we have selective memory, whether we want it or not. We choose to remember some things, we choose to forget some things. So I say, if I want to make it very simple, right, like 30,000 foot level, if you forget all the bad things that happened to you, reflect and learn from it, but don't keep replaying the whole scenario again and again, half the problems are done. And people always say, no, it's you don't know what happened to me and how this Jack behaved with me, how can I forget it? And I always tell them, you are telling me that it is difficult to forget it. Okay. Can you tell me the names of all your primary school teachers? They say, Raj, come on, I'm already 36 years old. How can I remember all the primary school? Were the primary school teacher good to you? I said, yeah, they were all very nice. They were wonderful people. I'm so glad that I had them as my teachers. But you don't remember their names. That's very interesting. This Jack person is not good to you, but you remember him very, very well.
Wow, that's a good tip.
Right? Because now it's like Jack did something bad, so you paid a price for it. By you keep remembering it, you are paying an ongoing monthly subscription surcharge.
You're paying interest, yeah.
Right? Because he says, Jack is gone. He must have forgotten about you because he took advantage of you or embezzled money from you or anything. He is gone. He is happily doing something, or whatever happened to him, who cares? But you, on the other hand, not only paid him for that bad thing that he did, you are continuing to pay him on a subscription basis.
I mean, excellent tip. I think those listening should remember this point, that remembering something or forgetting something is again a choice we make.
Yes.
It's by choice.
Yeah.
It's not that our computer stores everything.
Yes.
We make a choice to say store this file, store this photo, delete that photo.
Yes.
Why can't we do to our mind too? And the best way to remove bad is to fill it with good.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. If you are busy with doing good, you don't have time to deal with the bad that happened to you.
Yeah, I mean, if your hard drive is full, what do you do on your computer,
Yes.
right? You remove all the unnecessary files and you archive some good ones.
Yeah.
Same thing, just make it a practice. In fact, there are some meditations that that teach you how to clean yourself.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the day. Just remove all the bad, all the virus files in your brain and start fresh.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
Great way to live. And for those of you who are thinking, no, it's all good in theory, but it is difficult. The moment you said it is difficult, you made it difficult. Because you said it. Just now you said,
Correct.
oh, it's difficult. Of course it will be difficult.
It's a mindset again.
Exactly.
It's a block. I heard a story at a conference actually. There was this Buddhist lecture, and one of the doctors in San Francisco, she came to the event to listen to this Buddhist monk, and she was about 10 minutes late. So she walks in, and apparently she said, "Oh my God, the traffic was horrible. I had patients back to back, and it took me forever to get here. Oh, sir, by the way, how are you doing?" And apparently the monk said, "I am here."
Beautiful.
And that's what we want to practice. The traffic jam is gone. The patients are gone. Remembering that you are missing this beautiful opportunity to exchange with somebody. So the best way to remove the past before a good conversation is take a moment and just come to the present and say, here I am. I'm going to meet with Rajesh. He's a great friend. And just separate out all the past. And just imagine, I think I want all the people listening to experience that. It's magic. Nothing is bugging you.
I totally agree with you, and that's a great story, and it's an amazing response. Although it's only 3 words, I am here. It's such a loaded response that it takes hours or weeks to analyze what did he mean.
What exactly that does mean, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think again, like we talked about, you asked me the question, why is it difficult to be in the moment? Expectations from the past and anxiety about the future.
Yeah.
Both are really the sort of the no-no.
Correct.
Which will stop you from being in the moment.
Yeah.
Right? The effort to a result, you can only do now.
Yes.
Can you play a game tomorrow? No. You can play now.
Yeah.
So why worry about the game that you may or may not even play in the first place? It might rain or you may not be here.
Very, very true, Ravi. In fact, if you think about it, it's like when you are just consumed by the past, it's like a recursive loop. So basically what has happened now is that you are creating your past, and in creating that past, you are regurgitating the previous past. So basically...
And then creating the present to be past again.
Exactly. And then because you are so consumed by the past and you are creating the past, you don't have time to create a great future, because this moment that you have to create that great future is consumed by the past.
Yeah, and there's another quote I heard is, if your house is on fire, somebody set your house on fire, do you go after chasing who the arsonist was, or do you put out the fire? What if you run after the arsonist? Oh, the example that you said, oh, Jack did this and so on. Your house is on fire. Okay. Bad chemicals are being produced in your body, so you need to first get your house in order.
Yeah.
Arsonist comes later. Like you said, Jack may be doing something else in his life.
Yeah,
who cares? He ran away. So what? Correct. Right? So it's very, very important to kind of enjoy the gift, because we don't know how much time we have on the planet.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can claim that.
Yeah, if you think about it, you said it before we started recording, that all we have is the present moment. There is nothing else that we have. Past has already gone, future has not come, but this is all we have. Why not make the most out of it?
Make the most out of it, exactly. And I have a dog, and the dog has taught me a lot actually, because pets have no sense of the past. They only know who you are. They only have an identity of who you are But just because you didn't feed them yesterday, you didn't take them for a walk yesterday, all that is gone. They're just enjoying your presence. They're jumping up and down. And imagine if all of us have interactions with our spouses, with our children, with our colleagues in a way that removes all that baggage. And interactions become that much more fun.
Yeah, yeah. See, not to be too idealistic or anything, right? People will say, yeah, Ravi and Raj are talking here as if they are yogis or sadhus or enlightened people. We also go through our own ups and downs. But the idea is if you're aware that something made you upset, you got frustrated because you go to the airport and then they said, oh, your flight is cancelled. And then you have an important meeting tomorrow morning. Of course you will be frustrated. The problem is not that, because we are human beings, we will get frustrated. But how long you will live in the funk state? Because the flight is cancelled. So you can start screaming at the airlines and blaming everybody in the world or weather or anything. Or we can see what we can do. Because ultimately I always tell that all we have got is few options. And when a flight like that get cancelled, the options get fewer options because there is not many. Can you go by car? Can you take a charter plane? Can you go by bus? Can somebody drive you? Is there another flight that will take? Can you go hop on to multiple cities and go there? Can you do a WebEx instead of actually going there? Is there anything that you can do to reschedule that meeting? There are a number of options. I'm not saying not all of them are ideal, but that's all you got.
Correct. And you don't even know if your other person might say, oh, I love it. Let's meet the day after. In fact, it will help me. Something like that, right? Yeah. So without testing all those options, we get frustrated.
Yes.
Right? And so I think it is extremely important to, especially when you're with a person, right? One of the things, another stories I learned is he was a guy who was, grew up in Silicon Valley, been a great entrepreneur, and he was giving a talk at our alumni association. And so this guy taught me the importance of time, which is a gift, right? So he came to our alumni association. He gave a beautiful talk about service, and then he answered all the questions very, very patiently till 9:30. And then he said, "Okay, guys, are there any more questions?" Everybody kind of said, "Oh no, we are happy. All questions are answered. Oh, by the way, I'm actually leaving the country in about 2 hours. I sold everything I have. I packed up everything I got. They're all in my car, and my wife is waiting in the car with me. We are both leaving America forever for a year-long trip to serve anybody anywhere in the world." And throughout that conversation, that 2.5 hours he was with, he didn't even seem that here's a guy who has lived for 15 years in the US and leaving the country in 2 hours. He was completely in the moment. And the comment he made is that your time is the biggest gift you can give to other people. Money can be made, but this moment we are talking, right, June on a particular date, particular time, is gone forever.
Totally.
I cannot make it.
Yeah, I don't know whether I can be at that level because it is a really tall order to meet. That they are packing up everything, the wife is sitting in the car, everything is inside, in 2 hours they are going. But that's something to aim for.
To aim for it is, again, we are not being idealistic, but there are people who practice it.
Yeah.
And these are not the yogis in the Himalayas. Yeah. These are everyday people around us that have mastered the importance of, I want to give my 100% to you right now. Yeah. I'm not thinking what to say next. I'm not thinking what you said 2 hours ago. I'm here to listen to you right now.
Yeah. It also shows that the number of things that can distract us today are so many, because when we both were growing up, Ravi, the way to get news was through reading newspapers, right? And you had to wait for the next day morning newspaper to come in and see. Today, news will reach us. Whether we want or not, there are 1,000 sources to where they are bombarding with news, good, bad, ugly, everything. So my thinking is not only about expectations on the past and everything, the bad things, selective memory, everything, I also have the discipline to decide what sources you will allow in your life so that they don't take over your life. So you have Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all are good if you used right. But if you allow them to take over your life, then you can't be in the present because you make somebody else's urgency your priority because they are willing to bombard you with stuff. And then suddenly you say, I don't have time. Forget about being on the moment. I don't have moments to be in the moment.
Correct. In fact, one advice I think is one of the things that happens in the moment is of course breathing, and the other is learning. You cannot learn yesterday or you can't learn tomorrow. You can only learn now. So if you create your life around learning something, you have no choice but to be in the present because you are constantly using the breath that you have, the fact that you are alive and you're learning something new. That can only happen in the moment. But if you're always reading, getting news from other things, you're reading something of the past. And some might be good, that can inspire you to do something, and some might be bad, that can take you back to start thinking about the old things, right? So you have to control what channels you have turned on.
Beautiful. So we should do a couple of closing comments. And then
So why don't you...
Yeah. My closing comment is very simple. I am a student in being in the moment and it's a solid work in progress. But whatever little I have achieved, it has helped me a lot. And people who are thinking, you can't do it, you just said and then you made that happen, which means because you said you can't do it, you close the door of a possibility. So you can start very simple. When you are meeting in your next conversation, you observe yourself, whether you are present or not present. You can't cheat yourself.
You can't cheat yourself.
Can tell other people, yeah, I was fully present, but only you know whether you are really fully present. And I always think that a big battle like being in the moment is one conversation by conversation. It's a long journey, like a journey of 1,000 miles. It starts with one step. In this case, it starts with one conversation. And if you observe and win that conversation being fully there, and win another one, very soon it will become your second nature.
Exactly. And again, that's extremely well said, Rajesh. And my closing comment is to develop that skill of catching yourself that you're not in the present. That's very, very important. So sometimes things get dragged on and you realize that, oh my God, so I actually am very conscious about what I'm thinking. And I have practiced, I've learned to catch me doing that. The sooner you catch yourself doing something you don't want to do, then you can actually develop a lot of good habits. It's the fact that 2 hours has passed that you have been on Facebook and you lost time doing something productive, that's bad. So learning to catch yourself not being in the moment, learning to catch yourself that this conversation is not energizing, catching yourself is really the key.
Beautifully said, Ravi. And this is Rajesh. You can find me on rajeshshetty.com/blog and Ravi.
And Ravi, MentorCloud.com. And thank you so much for listening.